What kind of advice would you give to authors that are new in their writing career?
I would say several things. Try to develop a voice that connects your story with several other stories. We're always living in multiple storylines at once. There's our own story, and that's crucial. But other people have narratives too. And then there's the narrative of the thing you're writing about. So if you're writing about a book, as is the case with most of the things I edit, I often edit book reviews. So here I have the reviewer. The book reviewer is writing his or her own story into the review. And then on another level, they're writing about a story. They're writing about a book. It could be a very dry academic book about atonement, but there's a story there. There's a story, and they're engaging with that. There's a story of the author of that book they're writing about, and then there's the story of their readers. And there's the larger story in which we live, the context. We're living in a particular country, in a particular time in history, and we're all seeing common things on the news these days, presumably. And so to write in such a way that all of those stories intersect, all of those forms of narrative come together, I think is the most effective writing. I think people often try to write their own stories in a way that's really compelling and passionate, but you may not have that hook to draw other people into your story. So part of good writing, especially if you're working with personal narratives or memoir, is to just step back from your writing and think, how is this intersecting with a larger story, a larger narrative? It could be a larger narrative, it could be the larger Christian story, or it could be something else that really has the ability to do something good and redemptive in the world. But you need to get people into that narrative together. You need to draw people into conversation. A couple more practical things. I always advise new writers to avail themselves of editors and be open to the suggestions of editors. And I know this can be really hard because when I write, I fall in love with what I write. And it's like my baby. And I just don't want anyone to change it. And that can be really challenging. But this is precisely why we need editors, because they're not emotionally involved in our work. They have distance. And editors are also exposed all day long. Their whole job is to look at people's writings all day and to have a very large sample size. So editors tend to know the whole range of writing, the kind of writing that currently is working and isn't working. And editors are your friend. They're trying to make your writing better. So I would counsel writers to be as open to the suggestions of editors as possible. And you can push them back. They might not get your project at all. They might just misunderstand, but at least be open to what they're saying, to their suggestions about your writing.